as our regional experience leader in France, you get to speak to lots of customers. In fact, just about every time I talk to you, you've just talked to another amazing customer. Could you reflect on a few of the most memorable customer conversations that you've had over the course of your career?
Well, there are many of them. It's always difficult to choose. But since, first, I'm always spending the necessary time to set the scene with the customers, with IT leaders, to speak with the same language. And every conversation is not Microsoft telling its own story. It's a sharing session always. It's always bi-directional, which is super important. We need to be still humble because we learn also when we listen to those people. Cybersecurity is a big one. So I spent 2 hours with the group CIO of Amadeus 2 months ago, sharing with him how we manage cybersecurity from an end user experience perspective. He was asking tons of questions. He wanted to see the trainings. He wanted to see the phishing campaigns, the let's say the internal marketing newsletters, everything that we do. He was passionate by that, and I think we have a gold in our hands with that to share our perspective on cybersecurity. When you do a roundtable with customers, when you do a meeting, a multi-customer meeting, you are asking, well, what is the first topic that you have in mind? Cybersecurity is more often named. So recently, I had a 1.5 hour meeting planned with the group CIO of Pernod Ricard, a fantastic lady coming from Accenture, which was appointed a few months before. Actually, the meeting lasted 3.5 hours. We were staying 50 minutes on one slide, showing all the milestones, talking about identity, talking about shared service model, the roles, the evolution of the cloud. I missed my train to come back home, but it has generated 3 major opportunities in the CRM by the sales team. That was one of the big ones. With a 3 hours conversation, opening your books and being transparent, you can generate big businesses and provide trust, to people in front of you.
Great stories, and I know that there are hundreds more that you've got in your repertoire. I met with a customer last week, and the response that they had talking about how we secure Microsoft was very similar. Of course, the technology is of interest, but there's almost more interest in the things that we, do around our culture, around training, how to help our employees spot a phishing scam. It really is interesting. The technology is critical, but those human elements are just as important when it comes to securing your enterprise. So, across or over the course of your 25 years at the company, you've obviously made lots of decisions. And I'm wondering if you could reflect back, is there one decision that you've made in your career that you could take back? And if that's the case, what would it be and why?
Well, I have one. It's a difficult question, but I was thinking about that. So 20 plus years ago, I was in services. Mr. Steve Ballmer went in France with some enterprise VP from engineering. He was meeting a lot of customers, as always, especially in big banks. And he was challenged. They were challenged by some missing features in Exchange. If I remind well, I think it was about delegation management, thing like that. So the thing they did a promise during the meeting. Say, hey, we will develop that, and you will have that in a few weeks or a few months. And then they went back home. Even Steve Ballmer has sent a letter or a mail to confirm that to the customers. Big, large bank accounts, international. I was managing the bank business for MCS. That did not happen. The product group said, no. That will require 1 or 2 years, maybe 3 years. That's super difficult. That's super in deep in Exchange. So no way to provide that to customers. And so MCS was asked to develop a piece of code, kind of quick and dirty thing to manage that using some APIs, a set of APIs. There was a lot of bugs, a lot of performance problem. Nothing was working as intended. I think that was the biggest nightmare of my career. We had lawyers involved in the final step of the project. Nothing was working. And I said, never again. So the lesson learned is being a trusted advisor it's not about telling yes to everything to everybody. It's just telling the truth, just sharing risk, sharing reality. And I think this is what we learn a lot in Microsoft IT. When people are coming to us, we don't say no, we don't say yes. We say, hey, let's think about it. Let's sit together. Let's work on it. Let's see if there is something that we can do. But do not over-promise. Never over-promise. That was I think one of the biggest lesson I learned in Microsoft. Thanks, Mr. Bolmer.
It's a great story, and I do think that you just discussed the maturity, not just of Microsoft IT over time, but probably the entire company. You have
Yeah,
to sometimes make mistakes, but having a growth mindset is learning from those mistakes and not making the same mistake twice. Yeah,
absolutely.
great story. Thank you. All right, just one last question for you, Patrice. We've talked a lot about serious things so far, but I know that when you talk to customers and over the course of 25 years, I'm thinking that there are probably some funny moments that also stand out in your career. Would you be willing to share one of those funny things that's happened with our audience?
Well, you know me, Keith, so I'm passionate by a lot of things, including music, movies, or nice wines. But anyway, I will still keep the focus on what we do in Microsoft. We had a terrific hackathon session several years ago, and I was leading a team. It was a kind of contest, I was leading a team, and we did an amazing job from creating a crazy project that we called Connection as a Service, which was all about providing and bringing balloons in the air to wherever on the globe, on the planet, to provide Wi-Fi and internet connections through satellites or things like that. Should you be in the desert? Should you be in Niagara Falls? Should you be in Paris under the Eiffel Tower? You were able to ask a balloon, and there was an operation team using HoloLens, driving the balloons everywhere. That was so crazy, Keith. But everybody was super excited. We were so excited around the table. That was one of my best experience demonstrating creativity, growth mindset, can-do attitude. Irina was part of this meeting. We are still talking about that because I think this is a wonderful remembering. Probably one of my best team collaboration and working session ever. So funny.
That's awesome. And there's no doubt that, when you're on a really amazing team like that, that's when you're going to have fun. Patrice, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for making the time to join us today and sharing your insights and reflections on the history of IT at Microsoft.
Thank you, kids. Thank you, kids. I think the key word is the only limit is the imagination.
Well, if we can all live up to that, those are great words to live by. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks everybody for joining us today.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you.